Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Andrew Macdonald. This is a story of conversion with song. This is part one in a series of seven that I have planned. I've been speaking at in-person events about this, and I recognize that not everyone can attend an in-person event, so I thought it would be helpful to put this series together for those of you that cannot attend an in-person event. If you're interested in scheduling an in-person event, feel free to reach out to me. You can find me on my website at andrewmacdonaldhsms.org. There's a place for you to reach out. So again, thank you for listening in. So this is a story of conversion, and that might prompt the question, from what to what? And that's definitely a fair question to ask. It is definitely a question I would have asked several years ago. But before that, another question is, well, who is Andrew Macdonald and why is this important? And let me talk a little bit about that. First, who is Andrew Macdonald? Well, if you were to go on my LinkedIn page, you'd see that I was a business person for a number of years. I was climbing the corporate ladder at a very, very fast pace at many times, and very successful. You also see that I'm an educator. I have worked for some of the finest education organizations in the world. I'm not a classroom teacher, although I have taught. So a little shout out to all of you that do that. God bless you for that wonderful work that you do. I have a doctorate in education. And beyond that, I was born and raised in a small town in Connecticut. I still live in New England, but I have moved around and lived around the world. I have been married for 36 years. I have three young sons, and I could stop there because essentially those are the greatest accomplishments of my lifetime. However, and most importantly, I'm a person of faith, and I attribute my faith to any success that I've had in my lifetime. But the faith that I have now versus what I had 30, 20, 10, even 5 years ago is a very, very different thing. And that is really what this story is about. And why is this important? Well, first, because I think that people of faith need to share these stories. We need to inspire each other. We need to hear what others are doing. If we're a family and we truly love each other, then we need to help each other. And so I think it's important to share these stories. Secondly, my story does not include some sort of huge epiphany that happened. There were certain things that happened along the way, which I will talk about. But I'm just like you, just another person on the journey, on the faith journey. But I think that's important because this type of experience is accessible to everyone. And it doesn't have to be the extra special or the extraordinary. It is available to all of us. And I'm sure many of you have your own conversion stories to tell. And then, thirdly, I tell it for myself as well, because I'm in really great debt to those that were part of that story, that know my story, that have shared theirs with me and shared mine with others and offer help along my journey and continue to offer help along my journey. So I do it as much for others as I do it for myself. So this is a story of conversion, but more specifically, continuous conversion. And that's really important because this journey does still continue. And it's been interesting because when I talk to people about this, or I'm telling I'm doing this, the first thing they ask is, "Oh, when did you convert?" And honestly, that is a fair question. I would have asked the same question several years ago until I began to understand conversion. It is anything but a single event. In fact, it's a lifelong journey, beginning with baptism and continuing till we enter the kingdom. Pope Francis referred to it as a process that lasts a lifetime and is needed even more by people who think they're firmly on the path of holiness, I being one of those persons. He also said the opposite of conversion is immobility, the secret belief that we have nothing else to learn from the gospel. And I think that really says it all in terms of conversion. The catechism, for all intents and purposes, I really shouldn't be doing this. If you looked at the trajectory of my life, let's say 30 years ago, I was going in a completely different direction. If you told me 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 10, even 5, that I would be doing what I'm doing now, I would have probably said highly unlikely. It just was not where I was heading. But something along the journey was pulling, was tugging, and I didn't know what it was, but it was definitely pulling me in a different direction than where I was going. When did this all happen? Well, as I looked back on this, as I started to put this whole story together, uh, I started to reflect on, when did this whole process happen? It does not like you wake up one day and you're saying, oh, I'm in the process of converting or in conversion here. But if I were to really pinpoint a particular time frame, it was in my late 30s. So that would have been in the mid 90s. And so, what was the situation in my life at the time? It was great. Life was rocking. My career was just skyrocketing. I was receiving promotions on a regular basis. I was making great money. Um, I had the big house. I had the big car, the big cars. Uh, Everything was wonderful, and it was exciting. I was traveling around the world, eating in the best restaurants, staying in the best hotels. It was very exciting, but there was definitely something missing, and I did not know at the time, and I really couldn't pinpoint what it was, but I knew that something was definitely missing. Now, I've been a practicing Catholic all my life. I've been going to church every Sunday since I was a little boy. I was raised Catholic. I've had a close relationship with the Lord since I was very, very young. Um, so all of that was there, but that was another life. Uh, you know, you go to church, you do your thing on Sunday, but then you go to work and you leave that. At least for me, you left that at the door. You didn't bring that to work with you. You just wasn't something that you did. And so the career path was on a really fast pace, and you could feel, I could feel, or as I look back at it, you could see that there was a sort of separation of the two paths. And clearly, the career path and the faith path were not tracking at the same rate, nor going in the same direction. And my faith, while it was strong, had sort of flatlined. It wasn't growing. It was just sort of, it was okay, but it was just kind of going along. Um, and I think I could sense that something was wrong. Then life began to wobble. I was ready for that next role, that next title, whatever that may, or certainly something more than what I was doing. My expectations were high, my aspirations were even higher, and all of a sudden I'm being told, "Wait, you're young, be patient." Patient. Well, let me tell you, patience was not a virtue that I had much of in those days, and frustration started to set in, and so did life. I had a third son on the way. All of a sudden you had these competing things in your life, and I was getting frustrated, but also uncertain about where I was going, but not only where I was going, but who I was. And this was a really very difficult time. And as I think about this at this age, um, you don't have life's experience to tell you that, hey, this too shall pass. Uh, so for a younger person, when these things start to confront you or face you, you don't have that to sort of fall back on and say, um, yeah, I'll get through this. Uh, Also, the other thing I will say is that it was a difficult time for me, but I was the only one who knew that. I was the breadwinner, I was the husband, I was the father. No one else needed to do this. This was mine. Show a strong face and you'll get through it. And although I think my wife probably sensed something was up, but I did my best not to show it. So you're carrying that all inside. Fortunately, we do know that the good Lord does know, but that's not a direction I was going in. And so confidence, one thing about that as well, is that confidence and uncertainty do not work well together. So it was a really, really difficult time, and I was beginning to lose sight of who I was career-wise, personally, and with my faith. And this all began to spiral, and things were about to become even more difficult. And that's what I'll be talking about in my next blog called Turning Point. So thank you for listening in. I greatly appreciate it. If you are interested in listening to me in person or at a live event, please reach out. As I said, that's Andrew Macdonald, hsms.org, and there's a place where you can sign up or reach out to me, and we can schedule something. Or you can follow me and see if there's anything scheduled. But I certainly appreciate the time. And I'm going to end with a song that I wrote. It was the first Christian contemporary music song. So this is something I like to do is we'll always try to do is use speaking, writing, and music combined to send a message or convey a message. And so this is called Who Am I? And I think it's very appropriate for this particular episode. So again, thank you very much. Heart, soul, mind, and strength. Join the journey. God bless.
You are the great I am, but who am I? Who am I? You are the Lord of my life, but who am I? Who am I? Purpose to seek in your face, but losing my way to that place. Failing to see what you made me to be, when all that I need is your grace. You are the great I am, but who am I? Who am I? You are my Savior and God, but who am I? Who am I? Why am I here? What is my aim? Who shall I be when you call me by name? You gave me this gift, this life that I have, but I've stumbled along my path. That's when I'll rise, I will rise to the call of life in your eyes. I will be everything you made me to be. You gave your life so that I could have mine. You showed me the way through the cross. But it's one of those times when I've lost my way, and I just need to hear your voice. And then I'll rise, I will rise to the call of life in your eyes. I will be everything you made me to be. You gave your life so that I could have mine. You showed me the way to the cross. But it's one of those times when I've lost my way, and I just need to hear your voice. In your eyes, I will be everything you made me to be. And I will rise to the call of life in your eyes. And I will be everything you made me to